3, which is page 3, and on that table number 4, which the issue was supplementary funding for half year 25. The issue here was the receipt and utilization of any extra fund in the first half of the current financial year.
Summary, you note that we have deficit need for an ideal budget operation for council the next financial year at 1.5 trillion. Chair, I note that the budget framework for 2026-27, we registered a shortfall of 167.4, Chair, which is highlighted in this document. And you note the issues that you want us to clear. And I want to say that this shortfall will affect our implementation of the strategic direction of council. We have justified, Chair, on page 27, why we need additional funding. And I've highlighted under 10.12 the facilities that are supposed to host the games and their needs, but also the training facilities and other social service needs that require for our full operation. Chair, I've also highlighted on the government of Uganda redevelopment of Lugogo Sports Complex, which, Chair, you had the privilege to tour the facility, and considering the state it is, the Minister of Works have already issued the structural integrity test report, which actually indicate that it is already dilapidated, and therefore government should quickly provide funding for its redevelopment. We have put this as a need, as a funding gap, and yet it is very, very important for the entire country. Chair, I've highlighted the need under 10.3, subvention to National Anti-Doping Organization. I want to thank this committee for the support offered to the National Council of Sport and the Ministry to ensure this done. But, Chair, the money allocation is only 2 billion. Again, there's a budget of about 5 billion which was projected. And we have highlighted that need, Chair. On the same page, you have provided the provision, or made provision in the law for reward and recognition scheme. Chair, this part is very, very important, that our talented athletes require support and appreciation. The law has this provision, but the budget is not available to support it. And those details of the funding gap, Chair, underfunded priorities, I've highlighted them, and I want to ask that for some correction in totals. Instead of 1.2, it is 1.5. Okay, the spread is highlighted.
Honorable President FUFA, can you come closer? Because you are so far that.
Find a number of issues which has been raised there as a financial need for the period under review. And like you note, I want to mention the key part that really are very, very important. Chair, National Council of Sport is privileged with your support to have 100% staffing levels, but along the way, the funding requirement leave us with a gap for the financial year, and we have put a request of additional 456 million under salaries for the staff. Under 2, we have gratuity, which is part and complementary to the wage and for the staff conditions. I take note that the support to federations also requires some additional funding, which in this case we have asked for additional 8.5 billion. Chair, when you go to my detail in the annex, I'll provide the detailed amounts.
You have 3 minutes to go.
In that order, I will be within the time, Chair.
Okay.
The other ones are major games. There was a reduction in our budget in the previous financial year to 3.7 billion against 8.9 billion, Chair. We have major games to undertake and preparation for our teams to participate in Los Angeles Olympic Games 2028, which requires supporting qualification events for all the federations under the Olympic pathway. But also their participation in international events like the Commonwealth Games. This year we are privileged to be in Glasgow, and the funding leave us with this gap. We request for additional support of 8.1. We also request support to representative clubs in continental competitions, 2.7. On the oversight for council and the development and promotion, we are asking for 4.8. Additional administrative expense of 1.3 billion. And the subvention for anti-doping, we require additional 1 billion in this context, because this framework was provided when the certificate of finance implication was granted by the Minister of Finance that indicated this money would be available, but out of that, so far they have only given us 1 billion. And the reward and recognition scheme for talented and athletes, we require 5 billion. Chair, there is no provision in our budget for tax, and yet with the current activities we're undertaking, we have tax obligation as a government. And I'm finding it very difficult in the circumstance to implement the projects which we are already undertaking because of this gap. And in our estimate, we are looking for 500 million in the period. The local organizing committee operations for AFCON 2027 require additional support. And Chair, as you note in the chart, we and you provided us with the 24.7 billion, which supported for the local organizing committee. Chair, the detail of those expenses are available. We have also undertaken, as a measure of national and regional development, to develop other regional stadiums. You provided funds, Chair, through Parliament for Kacheka development in Mbara City. We want this project to be on, and we're asking for allocation of 100 billion. In the last appearance, you also challenged us to see that Buhinga Stadium, which had already been highlighted, funds are provided for its development because the feasibility report has been done. Chair, with your guidance, then we're able to integrate this as a need.
Now, Mr. Ogwang, or Dr. Ogwang, that info is very clear. Let's move, let's go to the challenges, because I'm constrained.
With your guidance to the prayers, and for other detail of my presentation, I want to take you to Annex A, where you have detailed budget allocation for financial year 2025-26. It also had budget requirement for 2026-27 and the gaps. And Chair, in that you will note I've given justification for each of the funds that we require your support. I want to go to the prayers of National Council of Sports. The prayers, Chair, is on page 36, and the details of my prayers and the amount are indicated. Chair, in this context, you note that the total amount required is up to 1.5 trillion in our prayers for all that I've highlighted. And for avoidance of doubt, as indicated, on page 38 to 40, you'll have detailed allocation and the gaps and the justification highlighted on page 20, 38, 39, 40, 41, 42, 43, 44, 45.
Thank you very much, National Council of Sports. Honorable members, I think you've heard the write-up I got from FUFA. And now that the President, National Council of Sports. Can we?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman, team, for the presentation. Chair, from their presentation, I think their presentation is very clear. Chair, there is only one concern. Actually, I have two concerns. The first concern is on page 15. Page 15 of your presentation. Page 15 is about those achievements, those medals we have won. I saw Max are here with the Kabiriti taking pictures. Why don't you take this information, the new vision? Because this is a very good achievement for you as the council and even for the country. Please do that. Don't hide.
Maybe has already done it. You may not be aware.
Know, but I wish I could see this instead of seeing Manu and Asen. I wish I could see this in the new vision. KCCA here, and I think somebody was supposed to be here. The KCCA. Concern is about the
KCCA. Are you around? Anybody from KCCA? Put up your hand.
Hey, where are you? You stand up. We are not going to ask questions about Tonach for channel. This is the question now.
It's good to KCCA is here and yes. They have remembered. Go ahead. Now,
the concern was that this stadium, Philip Omondi here, it needs a few things here so that it can also be used as a training ground for these AFCONs you are talking about. So, what is the problem? Why was it not included in the either training grounds to be improved or something? Because according to them, they are saying it can be used as a playground, but it seems it was not considered in all the arrangements. And now that the Minister for Sports is here, and the Honourable Minister, this Philip Omondi Stadium is the same playground for Parliament. It is yours. So, since it is almost ready, why don't you include it in the training grounds so that we have a variety?
But I would also like, Chairman, we operated for Philip Omondi so maybe the Minister will clarify. For me, I knew it was all over.
Chair, the last one is about Kacheka code. Did you get the code now for Kacheka Stadium? Because the mayor is waiting.
All at the first phase of the identification of the training pitches for AFCON, Philip Omondi Stadium was among those training grounds which we had identified. But going into the details and getting guidance from CAF guided that they needed us to have a facility with a natural grass for it to qualify to be a training facility. We had an engagement with the management of KCCA Football Club. They were not ready to allow KCCA Philip Omondi Stadium get to a level of having it have the pitch as natural grass. For that matter, as a government, we had to look for an alternative venues to suit into the guidance which were given by the Confederation of African Football. So I want to call upon the committee. It's important that we support the budget of Kampala Capital City Authority as sports to ensure that money is appropriated for that specific purpose to complete the works of Philip Omondi Stadium as part of the Kampala Capital City Football Club. But for purposes of AFCON training facility, I want to confirm to you, honorable members, that as of now, they are not among the training pitches which we are going to undertake the works. And as far as I am aware, and you honorable colleagues, there is already money which has already been released for the implementation of all the attendant to training facilities. That's issue number one. On issue number two, about the money which was sent to them, it is true works have been going on in as far as the upgrade of that facility is concerned. I again employ your committee, sir, to carry out your oversight role and see how far that money has gone with its works. But me, who is almost a daily use of the facility, I assisted the progress of works which has taken place in the Philip Omondi Stadium. And I want to commend the Executive Director of KCCA and the entire management for the good work done. On Kacheka Stadium, I want to invite, at the time I was following it up was when we had the question of the land ownership between Mbara City and Mbara District. So I want to invite Dr. Ogwang, because I'd asked them to go and resolve this matter. So I don't know how far they have made that resolution to that effect. But it's among the priority projects we feel we want to undertake as a matter of urgency if money is provided for. I thank you.
Thank you, Honourable Minister. The Chair and all the honourable members here, there are three issues I will highlight on and supplement what the Honourable Minister has already responded to. One on the PLA, not under National Council of Sports, and this has been progressive for a number of financial years of government. It's one work in progress. But the Chair allowed me to also indicate here that the decision for selecting the training grounds was based on the stadiums that were earmarked and approved by Cabinet. And therefore, the funds allocation and every detail was in line with the decision of Cabinet. Number two, on the code for the Kacheka development, when we are doing our concept note for approval, the Development Committee in the Ministry of Finance, Plan and Economic Development guide that all the projects under National Council of Sports should only have one code. And that is what we did. And as we talk, the feasibility report of Kacheka is already ready, and we have the code for all the projects we're undertaking is 1873. And all the feasibility reports for the others, like OIMA, Kibu, are available. And I've carried the copies here, Chair, in case you have interest. I'll provide them. I want to submit on that. Thank you.
Thank you. So before I let you go, National Council of Sports, I'll have intervention, and then because I don't know whether National Council of Sports and FUFA members. Yes, introduce yourselves.
I'm the Chief Executive Officer of FUFA.
FUFA. Is that all for FUFA? Okay.
Chair, but for the benefit of the members, FUFA is the body that is mandated to run the game of football in Uganda, and it is the one that is affiliated to FIFA, the international body. So I'll do an executive summary of the presentation. That first and foremost, Uganda will be hosting AFCON 2027 together with the other East African countries, and there are challenges that need short-term and long-term strategies. Dear members, on the 10th of September, out of the motion by the Minister of State for Education and Sports, Honourable Peter, while paying tribute to the outstanding performance of the team in Chan, there was a resolution of Parliament that the development...
So, Mr. Watson, can you help the President of FUFA who wanted the document seriously? As presenting, let's get that right up. Because the Honourable Minister doesn't have, neither do I have. We just need to work in tandem. Yes. But meanwhile, we can be continuing as.
But with due respect to the President of the FUFA and the entire family, first, I am shocked. Such a presentation would have gotten knowledge of National Council of Sports, even if I assume that I've been busy with you, Mr. Chairman. It's surprising that as you hear, the FUFA President, who is a colleague, is making a presentation which even I do not have a copy. And I've just asked the Chair of Council, which is directly mandated to supervise these federations, whether they are privy to the presentation. But because since this Parliament, it will be prudent that as affairs of sports are concerned, all of us as stakeholders are brought on board. And I'm happy that the motion which I moved has been quoted in the presentation. Unfortunately, myself who moved the motion is not having anything. So, Mr.
So what
Chairman,
we do, let's do it this way before.
I want to request that, with your permission, that we have a copy of this presentation. Secondly, with your permission, that before decisions are made, allow me to go back to the ministry, harmonize and discuss this with the Minister of Education and Sports. Because whatever brought here has come from the consultation from the Ministry of Education and Sports and top management. So I want to kindly request that Mr. Chairman, through you, this be considered. I thank you so much.
Yeah, I was the president of FUFA and the Minister of Sports. You can get out for some 5 minutes. Consult as we move with other entities. I think that's very prudent. So, Honourable Minister, and actually, I watched you get our flag from Morocco, and the two of you. So please go. You just go and just reconcile for 5 minutes.
Mr. Chairman, I want to request that the permanent secretary, since the CEO is there, and the chairman of National Council of Sports and the general secretary are part of that consultation, because it's not about me with my brother.
Problem. I do not have.
Can I make a small suggestion as your proposal? But whereas it is being raised that our colleagues do not have the copy, as far as I'm concerned, there was a copy delivered to the National Council of Sports, but we can cross-check with that, because if you see the letter, it is copied. However, I also want to suggest that by the same mechanism, documents or a presentation has been made here about AFCON and football, but we have not had a consultation with the National Council of Sports. Whatever is being presented here has zero input from the Federation. We thought that if that was the case, it should have started already, so that by the time we come here, but since we had not gotten any opportunity of any input, then it becomes a challenge for us that some of the proposals, which are good, and maybe even supporting what Council is presenting, had not been included. But we take your advice, and then we'll get back to you.
Yes, please do that.
Thank you so much.
Honourable Minister, I have no problem, because mine is to receive. You are well presented here. We can move with other. Yes, Dr. Ogwang.
Chair, thank you for the opportunity. I wanted to affirm that we have not received any submission from FUFA. And for all the years National Council of Sports existed, the procedure of National Council of Sports in budget preparation is communicated at the appropriate time. And the CEO who is here, who is the author of this letter, knows that procedure, and he has been doing it over the years.
Okay.
We have not received the copy being referred to.
I've given you 10 minutes.
We have not received.
I've given you 10 minutes, so please. I've given you 10 minutes, but you had finished the presentation, so consult and get back. Yes, Honorable Itungo. Hello? An in-house? After? We are going to have an in-house. Not now, because these are many people. Because to me, honorable members, we have so we have suspended for 10 minutes.
Moses Magogo, who is the Federation President, with the Permanent Secretary, Chairperson, National Council of Sports and the GS, and his technical team, we have agreed that as a matter of urgency, the matter be taken back. FUFA writes to National Council of Sports, receives the document formally, and they have a meeting to discuss what is contained in that document. Thereafter, we'll come back here. and report out of the meeting which will take place. As when the meeting will take place, I've agreed with them that if they could do it later this afternoon, because also we have to go through the formal ministry procedures. Number one, that matter has to come through senior management, then it has to come to top management, then we are able to bring it here formally. So that is what we have agreed. But in all that, we commit to follow up as a ministry for education and sports. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Honourable Minister. We'll come back. So can we get back now? National Council of Sports, Mr. Chairman, sir, we may have discharged you.
Thank you, sir.
Now let's look at the matters of education.
First of all, we are very privileged today to appear to present our national budget framework paper to the Committee for Education and Sports in Parliament. And our presentation was well received. What I can only highlight is that amidst the construction and expectation to host AFCON 2027, there is increased need, one, for government to reinstate the money which has been removed from our budget for the next financial year, which totals to 167 from the 508 billion which we have in the current period. That will help us address so many emerging issues and other matters that require compliance in respect to the sports infrastructure development and preparation for AFCON as a country. That's number one. Number two, there are emerging needs to grow the subsector and also undertake our strategic development planning right in its form. The interventions we have designed for the next 5 years in line with the government development plan, which has been approved by the National Planning Authority, we are required to undertake a number of activities in order to promote and develop sports, besides the sports infrastructure. The necessary support required to federations and associations require additional funding. You note that some federations will get 10.7 billion for a whole year. You know that, about 28, 27 of them. We have major games and preparation for activities that are aligned to them, like the Los Angeles 2028 Olympics and Paralympics. We have to support national teams for the respective federations to the qualifiers that at the end will see us select those players that tomorrow will represent the country. They need to participate in the regional, continental, and world championships. And those require a huge amount of money. The other aspect is major games government fund 100%, not from the side of the federation, like the Olympics I've mentioned. This year we have Commonwealth Games in Glasgow, where averagely we require not less than 5 billion alone. But the total budget we have in the annual period is 3.5 billion. So that really affects, one, the support required to process the players, present the players, and present Team Uganda as a country. Other needs are aligned to the, now that we have finished some of the construction work, like in the Home and City Stadium. We have not undertaken activities, for example, the insurance coverage for the facility, which is a must. That facility costed the government of Uganda $130 million US. It must be insured. As a government obligation, in the case of any emergencies, we need to be protected. So we need the money. And training facilities we are doing in Makerere, Kiambogo, Oima, Boma Grounds, Atituwinyi, Liredo. In all this, there are issues for them to be completed. We must maintain them. We must buy equipment. And these are hybrid facilities we are constructing, which is internationally accredited. So then the other aspect is additional human resource requirement. The new structure for Oima City Stadium requires us to do a restructuring to also recruit new staff. It doesn't have any staff aligned to it because it was not expected earlier. The money was provided to do recruitment. Now a new structure following our feasibility report is out, which actually require us to hire a few staff. Those are some of the additional needs. So the others we can reschedule them, like the Logogo redevelopment after the AFCON project, yes. But there are these needs that you need, and for us to be proud organizers of such a major competition. But 1.5 trillion need as an ideal budget. We are not saying government can give us all the money, but this is the ideal budget, which government must know we need. If the money is there, they will give us.
How much is the shortfall on that?
The shortfall is huge. It is about, if you deduct now 1.5 minus 336 billion, which is what we have, because the 167 has been removed from the 508. So already we are starting on a deficit of 167 billion. So the first thing we are praying for is to have...
You have a shortfall of 1.2 trillion.
Yes, 1.2 trillion. That's a shortfall. That is a gap we need to bridge. So, and that is our appeal, that we may not need all the money, but the priorities require for us to operate normally and in an ideal situation. We're not saying this is government must do everything to... Yes, government work with the priorities. Now our priorities and mandate require us to construct, maintain, and support the usage of these facilities. Moreover, also support federations who are mandated by law to do talent identification and development, but also present national teams to various competitions, including Olympics, Paralympic Games, World competitions, World Cups, like we have come from Morocco. Those are the things we must do. You might have seen the value of every player, and you can also look at that from the value of player. We want to create such players with such a value. We need to invest in them.
And finally, between the FUFA...
No. The challenge is only one. There's a procedure in government that require, for example, federations and associations are under National Council of Sports. They are required to make submissions to National Council of Sports, which they have done over the years, and we normally do. We normally require them to undertake. You get me? Now, at that point, we are able, therefore, to integrate their need and as a gap that we pray for. Now, after this presentation of the second budget call circular, there is what we call corrigenda, where government looks for additional resource. It is at that point we write to them, because government has provided additional resource. Here we have highlighted the need, as far as we are concerned, as the authority of government for sport development. We have highlighted the need, which is totally 1 point. There you'll find about 8.5 billion is for additional resource to support federational needs. So we think for them, because we also know that we are guided by the National Framework Paper, which gives us a ceiling of budget. So you cannot impress on government to plan huge figures without guidance. The guidelines is very clear. So our justification is therefore hinged on the fact that, yes, if government needs to give us additional resource, we need to tell them which area. Now, FUFA should have written to us, but they have not done. They are claiming they have written to me a letter. That letter is addressed to the speaker. I'm copied, but I'm not received a copy. That should have come. And our procedure in the ministry, once we receive submissions, I have an obligation to submit to the Board of Council. I have an obligation to submit to the ministry top management, which is chaired by the senior minister and first lady of this country. If it is a matter of AFCON, it must also go through the AFCON Secretariat, which has a CEO, where the minister is the chair of the LOC, and FUFA is part of it. So we have all the platform which was not addressed, and that was a concern of the Honourable Minister and the ministry, that those procedures must be followed. There's no problem. We need to supplement, complement each other's effort, because this is our country.
Thank you.